So, I'm taking a subject matter which is very important for all of you, and this is about privacy. And today also you're going to have a session on cyber security. And privacy is one very important aspect, not necessarily from human rights perspective, but in terms of ubiquitous nature of online media, we also need to know what privacy is all about and how privacy related instances can also create disturbances in our life. It can impact uh, our life psychologically, and also you see can have varied kind of consequences, um, which might also at times uh, it can have a severe implication in your personal well-being. Okay, and hence it is important to understand what privacy is all about. So privacy is one aspect of right to liberty and right to life and liberty, that is also enshrined in the Indian Constitution. You know there are certain rights which are enshrined in Indian Constitution. So privacy is part of right to life and liberty, which is described by our Article 21 of Indian Constitutions. And it has derived its origin from the word privatus. Privatus means aloof from others, secluded from other. So privacy can be explained by the eagerness or uh, having an you say intention to keeping yourself or myself aloof or alone. That's how we can understand privacy. Uh, but you see, when we try to understand it from broader perspective, we would also need to look into various other aspects like privacy in terms of our communication behavior, privacy in terms of our other disposition, uh, our attitude, privacy in terms of data that we share online. Okay, uh, and also privacy in person. So these are some of the aspects, and I will say there are four very specific aspects to discuss about privacy. One is data privacy, which is important, and that is important from the perspective when we land ourselves in digital era with share a lot of informations online. So data privacy is very important, and there are certain acts and legislations which will protect data privacy. But here in India, there is no such legislation. Uh, I'll say enacted so far, which could actually protect data privacy. But we are in the process of having one legislation that is called Personal Data Protection Act, that was tabled in 2019, but it was again ratified by 2022. But we yet to have that Personal Data Protection Act. It's very important to have a Personal Data Protection Act which can actually provide the safeguard and protection to the data which is circulated across us over different mediums, and how data are being collected, processed, and also secured for general well-being. Okay? Regarding the privacy in person, there are various cases and instances which are reported often, and those cases will be important from even human right perspective. So, privacy in person, my privacy, it's important. The way I deal with platforms, the way I deal with different informations. Suppose privacy in relation to health, privacy in relation to you see tourism. So these are some tourism and e-governance, privacy in relation to you see e-jurisdiction. So these are some aspects related to privacy in person. Privacy in person has been dealt elaborately in IT Act. IT Act was passed in 2000. There you get to find different clauses which will actually help you to understand privacy in person. When you talk about personal privacy is also about uh, the information, personal information, how it is circulated, how it is processed at different medium at the same time. So all these different form of privacy, when we take into consideration, we won't see any strict distinctions. Okay, so but when you talk about a personal privacy, it is about your choice to be alone or having that solidarity. Okay, no, sorry, that solitary. Sorry, that's, I'm sorry. So this is solitary attitude and having that aloofness. Okay, and also that choice of being alone is about personal privacy, your choice of being alone. So suppose a one celebrity chooses to be alone. You know, the hard choice and their choice to be alone will be her personal privacy. But when you talk about the casting couch, is one strategy that media always intervene into by which media intervene into the private lives of celebrities. We can also see that that is another kind of intrusion into the private life of individuals, and that can lead to privacy violation. So, privacy in person is uh, can also be understood from our relation to different medium and electronic devices that we are surrounded with. The way we use, you say, the mobile phone, even for communication purpose. So, as I have already told you that there is very little distinction about different forms of privacy when we talk about this privacy in person and communication privacy. You see, and privacy in our behavior or dispositional privacy. That is also one thing. The way we behave. That is another aspect. Suppose there is parenting people. That is a new concept, like parents sharing information about their children online. It is started from negative information which parents started sharing about their children. Many a time it is very difficult for certain parents to also administer control over their mischievous attitude, and hence they started writing blog and sharing about their children without even using any pseudonym and all. So that has created a kind of, you see, concern related to parenting, and then the concern has been bigger whether parents can share information, any positive or negative, not necessarily negative, and this is also related to privacy concern now. But in India, we do not have that kind of law which is enacted yet, which will be for us, but we need to take take care of certain aspect of sharing content about our children. I do also share information about the children, like many other people. Online medium is there and it's very ubiquitous. The problem here is that when we actually understand about the privacy, communication privacy, or privacy of our behavior and disposition, so it has a lot to do with our psychology, our intention, right? So, and when you talk about privacy of person, also this is also not simply, um, you see, different or separate from the intention of someone else's. So, suppose a person's privacy is very important, and if his or her privacy is intruded, so it has lead to life-threatening implications. Suppose you have this electronic voyeurism concept is also there. It is dealt in IT Act. Electronic voyeurism, spy camera, which will also record the private area or intimate movement of the people, is also amount to intrusion into the private life of individuals. Right. So now that is quite common nowadays. Spy camera is quite common, and casting couch is also one aspect of having the spy camera and intruding into the private space. So behavioral disposition in this aspect, that privacy related to behavior, is hard to notice, but you see, When you talk about the privacy related to behavior and disposition, then perhaps the best example will be the sharenting. But we do not have a law related to sharenting because we don't consider that we need to take a consent of the children, because at that stage, because they are still like, infant, they are not adult, so it is not a matter of consent that we need to take. But you see, why that concern has been raised is very important. Concern has been raised so that they are not susceptible to any kind of pedophilic activities. That was the concern, and that happened to be instances. There are references of many instances across different part of the world, and especially in US. It was so very prevalent that many children became victim of that pedophilic activities after parents share information about them online. And first, it started with negative information, means how to cope up with their mischievous behavior. And they're in that age, they're not yet teenage also adult, but certain difficulties parents face in terms of, you see, that regulating control over them, because of which they actually shared those information, and that became an issue of concern, that sharing negative information without the consent. So consent word, that has been again one aspect, whether one child is able to give consent or not, because when you talk about the consent, that informed consent can be given only by an informed citizen, informed person, because an adult is capable to understand the pros and cons of different situations, have that maturity to understand, so they can give informed consent. But a child cannot give informed consent. They cannot even give consent about what is good, what is bad, but about them. Hence, again, this issue of parenting is very ambiguous, just like few other important aspect related to even the privacy. Like we also have this, you see, we call obscene language, obscene message. So, but obscene is not defined properly. Okay, that is also another related issue. How obscene is being defined is not defined in any law in India. We simply say that obscene or offensive message, offensive word is not defined properly. So there are many offensive words which we say. So in that way, any kind of hate speech which are also generated online uh, could be curtailed and should have been curtailed on the basis of offensive language. But on what ground that offense is being considered and taken is important. Okay. Uh, so. Uh, so parenting is one concept, but here parents need to be very careful about sharing. Parents need to be very careful about sharing, not sharing about their children's birthday, especially the location. But location is usually identified nowadays through publicly available information, because it's and everybody is connected to Google, and Google is one which usually violates the privacy every now and then. Although it has got a privacy guidelines and privacy policy which is available for all, but Google is also one you see, platform which violates our privacy every now and then. You get to see Google take use of publicly available information. So Google identify us on the basis of publicly available information about us online. Certain information about us we always make available. So if I'm recruited in a company, recruited in a government office, so my information, my address, name, my ethnicity, my ascriptive identities are already been identified and it is submitted. So Google collect information from those publicly available sources, even if you don't have a Google account. So when you have a Google account, so definitely you will be susceptible to, you see, privacy violations. But the thing is that Google has a very intelligently try to dismiss that privacy violation at times. Although Google violate the privacy every time, every now and then. The way they take information from us through cookie, Google also admit that they usually take information from us each time um, we use Google services. Each time we download an application from Play Store, the applications that we are using, each time we use the Google browser, Google Chrome. So we leave a trail of information about the website that we are visiting. So our browser information is always saved in cookie and in the cache file, and also about these applications, different applications which we are using. Will also like being already developed a kind of data set in the Google. So that Google developed the databases on the basis of our use of applications and all, the time, frequency of use, the way we have used that applications, whatever applications that we are using, because most of the applications are downloaded and installed from Play Store, Google Play Store. So they usually have a database of users, and that is basically that identifiers, users identifiers from the user search histories, from the very operating system that we are using, the device that we are having. So they usually have all the information, the kind of device that we have, the kind of mobile network that we have, the kind of mobile application that we have, the name of the device, the type of the device, then operating system that we are having, then also about our search history, about search queries. So Google Direct cookie to get information about our search history and the queries. And Google at times, this is also true. Google admits that they share information to third parties. They share information to third party with a clause and a condition which they have mentioned that they share information to third parties. Um, on conditional basis, that means upon getting consent from us, upon getting consent from the user, and from whom they have taken this information. On getting consent, they share the information to third parties, but they usually share information to advertisers. Even they allow some advertisers and some other companies to use their cookies to take our information for updating about any products, updating about any advertising. So, like that way, you see that every time our privacy is being violated online. And through this communication means, this is related to privacy, related to communication. So, we have this four aspects of privacy. One is personal privacy, this behavioral and dispositional privacy, how we behave related to our privacy related right and needs, and also transaction while transacting with others online. And third one is privacy related to communication, the way we use the communication device. And fourth aspect is data privacy. So link all this, you see, linkages among this concept is very important to understand. So one is not separated from the other. So you see that when you talk about use of Google, this is basically a privacy aspect from communication angle, because each time we're communicating and we are also getting information from others, we are sharing information. So this is related to privacy aspect from communication angle, as well as our behavior towards sharing this information, because we also know that each time we will be using an app, we are sharing this information, but we don't regard while sharing the information. And many a times, even there are some terms and conditions, it will appear, and we click on the terms and conditions, it will also mention, it usually mentions in the terms and conditions that they will take the privacy, right? They are going to share our informations, and we also admit them, we give them our consent to share our information to third parties, so that we could access the software, so that we could take the service of that software and applications. Okay, so just because of having that utility service of one application and the software, we allow that software to share information about us to any other company, or especially at a company, advertising company or other third party. to access our information. Okay, so this is our behavior. So our behavior, which is not that you see careful enough, we are not that cautious in terms of even uh, in terms of granting consent to any other application yeah, in sharing this information about us. Okay, so this is about this communication, behavioral aspect and disposition. And when you talk about this data now, data aspect of privacy, this is also very important because everything deals with the data now, data privacy. Data privacy is very important. How data are being secured, how data is being secured in the sense collected, how it is being processed, and how it is being accessed and stored. It's very important. Okay. And when you talk about the e-governance services, now we have a variety of e-governance services, right? And we are also giving our personal detail uh, for efficient e-governance to avail the based on e-governance services. You can actually talk about different kind of form elements are there. Electricity bill is also there. That is a part of even the e-governance. So that is an information management system where we feed our information. Even nowadays, what is interesting is that political party also used to take information um, from those information management system, and they target political campaign accordingly. Suppose on the basis of electricity bill, they usually target the electorate on the basis of their demography. They try to understand the demographic element of the electorate, and accordingly they target that group. Okay, on the basis of that electricity bill, you see. Like that way, that various kind of bills are also very important because it contains information at the same time, but it is information is being pulling out even by government political parties, and they also provide us the targeted campaign and the ad at the same time. Yeah. And our you see our attributes, our ethnicity, about our income, about our education. So everything is already stored somewhere. Everything is shared even among different stakeholders. So for giving a targeted ad campaign, and you also see that when you talk about this data privacy, it is also related to marketability of this data, how data is being handled, in one country, and it is also related to even cross transferability of this data among the countries. Okay, because we do not have a jurisdiction as such to protect the data inside India, but we are yet to come up with a bill is yet to be framed. So, but we are on this way, Personal Data Protection Act, which is already tabled. It's not an act. People said that it has become an act, but it's not. It's not yet data personal data protection bill. It's a bill. It's not yet act. Okay. So okay. As per my information, in 2022, you see the verified information. Even if it has much an act, you will get to find some latest information. Till 2020, 2022, it has been tabled, and with lot of references now are supposed to be incorporated. Now AI has also come, so we have to have different remedial action related to AI and also data protections. Okay, and how data is circulated, and whenever an application is using data, they actually needs more data to have the upgraded version of it, and also to have an improved version of that application in terms of AI. AI usually need more data. You know that, and hence you also see that AI application now want like you also see companies want us to use this AI application because so they want us to use this AI application so that uh, that application itself is upgraded with the help of newer information that we are including. So each time we include a newer information, So it will also fit into the databases, and the features will be upgraded accordingly. It will, that word each time we include a new word, it will add to new vocabulary to this AI application. So for having that scalability, you also see that is of one particular software, it's very important also to use that software. And that policy has been already administered by Google, and hence we get to see everybody is using Google Chrome and Google browser, uh, and also you have that operating system. Then you talk about you say Play Store. So to create a kind of ubiquity across the like among the people, among the users, at the same time, the more it will be used, no, the more participation it can have, and more improve the technology it will be. So that was actually the principle, but somehow it has a toll on our data privacy. Okay, so that is one thing. So when we talk about the government role in terms of data privacy, you see that government authorize itself to like take all this data from us, and at times government can intercept and tape our call, our even messages. Some classified messages could also be taped, and also you see, excuse me, and some calls are usually wiretapped, and that interception could be done by authorized agency, especially it will direction related to interception could be issued by Ministry of Home Affairs and all the home departments of the government. And in that way, they can also access to our data and information that which is very personal time. Okay, so and that too on certain grounds. So it has to satisfy certain clause and condition based on which government can go for interception. Okay, so those clause and condition which government body has to satisfy are if interception is related to public order, if it is related to, you see, the safeguard of the country or integrity or sovereignty of this country, and also if the interception is related to maintain our friendly relation with our foreign other foreign countries or neighboring countries, and also to prevent the incitement of any offences in the society. So on this very ground, government can, these are the clauses, these are the conditions and the grounds based on which government can intercept a call, and also issue direction, Ministry of Home Affairs, issue directions intercepting the call. And Article 67, 69 has given information about this interception, and also the authority uh, who has the right to have that access the disclosure of information. One authority who can access the disclosure of information. So even if it is intercepted, so all this intercepted information is to be submitted. So it is also to be mentioned whom to submit the intercepted information, and also for how many days you can keep those intercepted information. For 60 days, one company, or you see, especially those government stakeholders, can keep this intercepted information for 60 days, and it has to renew after expiry of 180 days. Okay, so for 60 days, they can actually keep the information. Then it could be deleted also. So any kind of, you see, privacy related um, issue is especially in terms of data privacy is also linked to how information is collected, how information is processed, how how information is secured and handled, and how it is being accessed. Okay, so at different stages we can actually see the collection of information. It has to have a purpose. And then intercepting the call also has to have a purpose, collecting the information. In terms of company, collecting the information has to have a purpose. Purpose of sharing. Okay, so collecting the information has to have a purpose, and that purpose has to be legal purpose. We are collecting information for marketing purpose, for even sharing it to third party with a profit motto, but not to harm the users. But not to harm the users. Okay, so that is important. And then you see, this is about the collection of information for a purpose, not to harm any users, but collecting it with a motto to earn profit for marketability or for the greater interest of the society on government part. So on private bodies part, we get to see different kind of interest for collecting the information, different purpose of collecting the information, and basically it is related to profit motto, their marketability, that their market value, the market value they could earn from sharing this information. But on government part, they collect information with the purpose to see maintain the public order, to prevent the incitement of any kind of offences in the society, and also for the sovereignty and integrity of the country, and also to maintain friendly relation with other countries. So, like that way, a purpose of collecting information for government and see that private bodies are varied. And then we talk about the process of this information, how information is being processed. This is in terms of data privacy. Okay, how information is being processed is that each time the information is being processed has to be updated. So if information is not updated frequently, it lost relevant. So it is about processing the information, and that too by rightful authority, who is processing the information, for how many days the information is processing, and the information is definitely processing with an intention, and whether the information which are being processed is relevant, it is it is relatable or not, relatable, relevant to the users, and with whom it is being used or shared, or for what purpose it is being collected. So that relevant cause of relevance is very important in terms of processing information. Then security of information. So security of information is also very important. It is about having a secured server of information. It's very, very important to have a secured server. In terms of government also, we are giving so many information of ourselves, even through biometric, through even that iris reading and all. So a lot of information have been already shared, already being collected by government. So from e-governance point of view, what is important? What is important is having a secured server to save this information, and also securely retrieving this information at times where it is required. Hmm. And then having a chief privacy officer and privacy agency is very important on using e-governance, that part, so that they can actually deal with the matter and complaint related to privacy, because there are so many complaints related to privacy which are yet to be floated. But there are complaints which are not addressed properly, privacy related complaints are not addressed properly. So there has to have a chief privacy officer. So we are actually we are talking about, or we are giving some recommendation how to deal with privacy violation and challenges in terms of e-governance when government collecting this data from us. They've stored those information. It is not about the interception of calls or wiretapping of the calls. How they use information, they have used information on the basis of Aadhaar card, PAN card. We are submitting our information, right? We're submitting our all details about our fingerprints, about our people reading. So our bodily information have been stored. Okay, So this is related to our health and our ownership over our body. This is very important. Your ownership over the physical resources, your skills, ownership over your body, ownership over your labor. Okay, so it's very, very important. This is also related to empowerment, how empowered you are, whether you can take control of the information that you have or not. I'm having this irritation, it's an allergy kind of. Okay, it's fine. Thank you. Okay. Uh, okay, so it's very important for us to have ownership over the information. Okay, ownership over the information is very important, and hence it is also important to have a chief privacy officer and an agency which can deal with the privacy related complaint. Okay, and some standardized procedures, some standardized procedure to deal with the privacy related claims is very important, as we are finding lot of information about ourselves, our like body and the physics, and this will also lead to health related privacy. You see, like there are some sensitive personal information, like you see that certain element cannot be shared, your dental record. Okay, that is also another, your genetic record, and also about the medical bills and pharmaceutical that products that you have bought, and diagnosis of any kind of illness or disease, information about diagnosis of any kind of illness and disease are not supposed to be shared without your consent. Okay, so that is also related to our means our person, at the same time our body, our physics. Okay, our physique. So that is not to be shared without consent. At the same time, health-related information. There are certain acts which are already been in place in USA. HIPAA Act is there. Then PQI that is also another Patient Safety Act, which are already in place in USA, but in India we did not have that many stringent legislation and regulation to deal with even the health-related information. Okay, that is also related to privacy in person and privacy in you see data privacy. Basically, this health-related information, tourism-related information, e-government-related information is related to privacy in person and data privacy. Okay, it is not come under this communication privacy and behavioral aspect of the privacy. Less relatable to behavioral aspect and communication of the privacy, but it is more relatable. It is more relatable to uh, data privacy and privacy of person. Suppose a tourist, we usually earn a lot of revenue from tourism, right? Even that 9% I think gross domestic that gross national product earned from tourism, and some 9% again 8-9% of total employed population are engaged in tourism. So you can see that it's a very vibrant sector here in. It's yet to be a vibrant sector, but yeah, it has that potential to be a vibrant sector in India. And tourists usually share a lot of information about their country, about their details, and they do have right even to request for deletion of those information once they leave and as per their wishes. Sorry. Okay, so when you talk about this privacy, right to privacy is about, and that too about data privacy. Right to privacy and right to data privacy basically about your control over the information that you are sharing, okay, and also your controlments you can access whenever you wish. You can also delete, request for deleting the information as per your wish. So that is important and that is related to your privacy right. Okay, So data privacy right. When you say my right, my privacy. Okay, my privacy is basically, you see, personal privacy. I want to be alone. That means also want to be secluded, want to be separated. I want to be detached. I don't want to be mixed up. That is also another right. Okay, nobody can force you. That is your right. Okay, this is related to liberty. This is related to your life, your well-being. Okay, so you are the one who can decide your own well-being. This is also your liberty. Whether you're mixing up, you are also accompanying with others. You are assembling yourself. You are also you're mingling with an assembly of people or not. So this is related to your privacy right, okay, in person. And also regarding data privacy, and that too through the medium, and when you submit many information and data about yourself, your privacy right to will entail how this data is being used. So if you have if you have control over accessing of those data, who can access, how they can access, or whether you can delete this data or not, is related to your personal privacy connected to data. Okay, are you getting? So that is another privacy right related to data. What is the time? So okay. Uh, so so you understood about data privacy. You understood? Okay, so it is basically about your control over the data and the information which are being taken by private company or government, and how they are utilizing it. So your control over how it is being utilized, your control over how it is being accessed, and for what purpose it is being accessed. Okay, and with whom they are sharing your information is about your data privacy. Okay, and also you say information privacy is very important, and whether they can delete the information, whether they are ready to delete the information on request or not. That means as per your wish, they can delete the information or not, so that you show how empowered you are in terms of your privacy. So data privacy is very important, and having data privacy also empower yourself, uh, and having certain decisions regarding the way information is being circulated. So this is also related to, you say, information, secured information. We actually deal with that aspect, security aspect of information, right? So you have to have a secure server, have to have a standardized mechanism to deal with the complaints, have to have regulations, and also proper implementation of the regulation for the security of any kind of breaches of data privacy, any breach to privacy, any breach to information privacy. Okay, and then we also see that it is very important about data handling, the way data is being handled. This is about, you see, cross transferability of this data. So within the country, when data is circulated, and definitely there are different mechanisms in place, and the government, also the Ministry of Home Affairs, have stake over everywhere. So in that case, so data is circulated across the country. But when data is circulated beyond the country, we need to have a contractual agreement with other countries also regarding how data is being, you see, used between the country, because nowadays lot of communication are being circulated even beyond border, even in social media also lot of communication, lot of information is being circulated. So at times, hence, you get to see that certain informations in Facebook, even social media, are not visible to you, right? So that are intentionally deleted from their site, and also make it invisible for you, certain information. So on certain grounds, and they said that these are the grounds which I have already discussed, to maintain the public order, and to maintain, that is what, friendly relation with countries, and the clauses and the conditions which I have already discussed. You get to see the way the data is being handled, and that too across social media and in between the countries. And when you talk about this data processing as well as the way data is being handled, it's important because there is different jurisdictions among different countries, and different law sets are there. So there is not one single set of laws and the regulation which will actually regulate our information right and privacy right. If one set of law will regulate our privacy right in India, another set of law will regulate the privacy right in USA, and perhaps I will not be able to continue. Okay, so this is related to, you see, because of this very differentiation of the clauses, it is very difficult also to, you see, uh, difficult to decide the transactions beyond the border of the data and information. In terms of e-commerce, even in terms of social media, you see, it is very ubiquitous and so very pervasive in terms of presence. And whenever any transactions conducted, and that beyond border, so it actually fall into different kind of jurisdictions and different kind of law sets and enactments. And hence, this issue related to information is very sensitive, and information and data is very sensitive. Okay. Any okay? Do you have any query? So that can, because I don't think that I could communicate more because of my throat irritation. So this is quite frequent. I am having this allergy because of which there's a frequent throat irritations, and I don't think that I could communicate to you more. So it will be difficult for me. But if you have any queries, you can. But still, I'll try to address, because lecturing is something different. But I'll try to address your queries or your questions if you have anything related to privacy, because there are more to deal with privacy. Privacy, okay, privacy is a vast area of study, and it is also brought under the cybersecurity. So you are going to have session on cybersecurity. So you get to learn how you see how you use these communication technologies, like online communication technologies, and how online these technologies usually, you see, access information, transmit information, store information, and it is also related to contamination of computer network and computer system. It is also related to, you see, uh, the way this data is being circulated across the online media. And hence, you see, what is important to understand in terms of IT Act. So perhaps it will be discussed about some of the clause of the IT Act, which is very relevant in terms of electronic terrorism is very, very important. Phishing attack, identity attack, login credentials are taken by the company, and they masquerading one site of another, and then all the login credentials are being taken. And in that way also, your information, personal sensitive information about your password, about your email ID. Email ID is known to many, but password is not known. Password is sensitive information, is being taken. So, but as the masquerading itself, or masquerading itself by another, website. So Facebook page is also many a time, so it is susceptible to phishing attack. So you submit the information thinking that it is one site, one desired social media site, or one desired website that you want to retrieve information, you want to search for information, but at the end you come to learn that actually this is not the one where you have submitted the information. So they have taken all the login credentials. So that site has taken all the login credentials from your in, and they can use it for wrongful purpose. Phishing attack will be there. Phishing attack is also one kind of identity attack when that information is used for wrongful purpose. Suppose when we talk about the cyber security, what is important? It is related to privacy also, because information are being taken. But how information which are being pulled out is being used, which are being pulled out, which are being taken from you, are being used. It is used for right purpose, it is used for wrong purpose, is important. Okay, every time you talk about this, when you talk about this security attack, virus contamination, phishing attack, electronic vandalism, okay, these are some of the issues at times come. And also you see there are some other kind of uh, that you call about crime, WhatsApp email are there once. There is also emails. Since 2015, there are many emails and news channel usually get of this a kind of WhatsApp email that of planting a bomb somewhere. But actually, that's a WhatsApp email. That kind of email that is also kind a type of um, cyber crime. It is a different side altogether, but it is also related to information, but less to do with privacy. But when you talk about the privacy about the electronic terrorism, that is related to privacy, about the way information is used and um, uh, disseminated and shared with other third party or other stakeholders. Okay, anything you have to say? And also you see that in our India, we have a blacklisting kind of regime. So we see there are two terminologies. One is blacklisting and another is whitelisting. Blacklisting is that anything which is not forbidden is permitted. Anything which is not explicitly forbidden is permitted. That means if something is not forbidden by the government, consider it as permitted. So our India is a country fall into the backlisting country in terms of communication, in terms of activities, in terms of your act, in terms of your behavioral disposition online, in terms of using of or uses of different communication technologies. So we do have a kind of blacklisting attitude. So it is not forbidden, hence we can use. It is not explicitly forbidden. But in certain countries, and mostly those countries which have, you see, the dictatorial say, or one party rule, even in Myanmar and a few countries in China also, anything which is not permitted, explicitly permitted, is forbidden. So each time you need to use a model, use a communication technology, or use any media, you need to take permission from the government. That is a whitelisting country. So rules and regulation are very stringent in whitelisting country uh, compared to blacklisting country. So in blacklisting country, so we simply said that okay, this kind of rules are not forbidden, so we can access. So as it is not explicitly forbidden, but in certain countries, you need to take permission from the government to watch this kind of films. Okay, so like that way, we could actually see blacklisting and whitelisting domain in terms of even privacy and information privacy, and also about our, you see, our legal behavior and our behavioral disposition related to privacy. So I'm ending up now because you are also going to have this session. Do you have any queries? But I have something more to discuss. I really don't know whether I could continue tomorrow or day after. Tomorrow, do you have a first class? If you don't have a first class, I'd like to take the first class because the rest of the time I will be busy with arranging the rest.